Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and I thought today, with my coffee in hand, that maybe I'd have a little chat with you about two of my sewing machines. Both are Janome that I've had for a little bit of time now. One I've just got, and the other one I've had for probably over a year or so, and just not kind of compare them, but give a review about how I feel about each one. Now, I'm not going to give a review like people who give reviews on all the features and everything like that. I'm going to talk about it from the point of view as a user, somebody who's invested money into these two machines, and talk about why I invested this money in the machines in the first place and how I feel about them, and basically why do I have more than one sewing machine. So the two machines I'm going to talk about, just move out of the sight here and bring the camera down, are these two machines right here. The one to your, I guess it would be your left, this one. This is the Janome M100. And the one beside it is the Skyline S7. Now, I just got this one. I've had it for only a couple of weeks, but I'm going to talk about this one first because I've had it the longest. Now, I did print out for this YouTube video, I printed out the spec sheets for both of these just to do a little bit of a comparison. But I want to talk about, first of all, why I bought the first machine, the MC100. I'm not sure if it's an MC100 or if it is, what is the technical term for it? It's actually, I keep calling it the MC100, it's just the M100. This machine came out in around 2017. It was a special one for the 150th anniversary of Canada's, beginnings. And that's why down below here, you see this stylized maple leaf and Canada 150, 1867 to 2017, and then these stylized leaves here. Now, I have to say that that did attract me to this machine, but that's not why I bought it. It's called the Tamara Kate. Tamara Kate is a designer, and I guess she was commissioned by Janome to create this special edition machine. I'm not sure if you can still order these machines or not. I don't think you probably can. You would probably get them as old stock at a sewing machine dealer. Basically, that's how I got it too. But why I bought it was because I needed a lighter machine that would work when I go to classes. I had, at the time, I started with a 6700P, which my husband now has and sews on it all the time, and it's a great machine. Love that machine. That was my first Janome. And then, of course, you know, if you've been following me on a regular basis, that I purchased the Janome Memory Craft 15,000 Horizon, which is the combination embroidery sewing machine, which until lately I have been loving. And if you want to know why I say up until lately, you can go back to, I have 4 videos about the problems I'm having with that machine. But just as an aside, I do love Janome machines. I've had very good luck with them, and most of that is because I have a really good local dealer. And that's something, again, as an aside, when you're purchasing a sewing machine, you might want to also look into how well or what the support team is for that machine or for that brand of machines. Mine is excellent, but if you have problems with your machine, and I'll tell you this, you will have problems with your machine at some point in time. It's a machine. They do break down. So what you want is to have someone local, handy, who's got reliable service and a good turnaround time. And I've really lucked out on that with my salesman. So shout out to Ultimate Sewing in Oshawa, Canada, Ontario, Canada, where I live. It is excellent. So if you're in the area, that's the place to go to buy a Janome machine. Okay, so just notice my leg is a little crooked here. Let me fix that. Okay, so the reason I bought this little machine is because it was light. I could take it to classes. The other machines I just mentioned, the 6700 and the 15,000, are great machines, but they're as heavy as anything. The 15,000 weighs almost 40 pounds. So, you know, that's a bit of a lug when you're going to a class. Now, this one does not have a very large throat, and I think according to specifications, if I can find that, and you want to know something? On what I printed out, it doesn't say what that is, but hey, I've got a tape measure somewhere. we can figure this out. So from the needle, the center needle over, it's about, it's a little awkward. You got about 6 3/4 inches, okay? Not big. So if you're buying this machine for quilting, don't. That is, if you're thinking about doing more than just piecing. If you're thinking of using this particular machine for, you know, for actually quilting on a quilt, no. Anything bigger than, you might be able to do a small throw or lap on this, but I think you would be very hard pressed, and I've never tried. It's just too small to throw. You can't get that much fabric under it. But I didn't buy it for that purpose. I bought it for basically going to classes and piecing, and it works great for that. It does come with a variety of decorative stitches. It has 100, which is great. It does have a foot pressure adjustment to it. The feet will drop in this, the dog feet. They will drop. And that's kind of an important thing on sewing machines. I think most sewing machines today, that feature is there. But if you are going to try and do some free motion quilting, you want to be able to drop your feed dogs. It does have a speed control, and of course it has a foot pedal as well. A speed control right here is very nice to have on any machine because, well, it's just nice to be able to, you know, get it set to the speed you want to operate with. It comes, it says, with 6 standard accessory feet and a pin cushion. This was cute. A lot of people ask me about this, whether I bought this separate. No, it came with it, and there's a little holder for it right here. And you want to know something? I use it. It's really convenient to have that. All sewing machines should come with something like that, I think. But that's kind of a neat little feature. It does have 7 buttonholes and darning and eyelets, automatic thread trimmer. The automatic thread trimmer on any machine, once you've gotten used to that, and I think a lot of the machines these days come with it, maybe just the lowest of the lows don't. That's a nice feature to have. Then you don't have to keep reaching for your scissors and cutting the threads and moving on. I know it sounds like a little thing, but once you've had one, you can't give it up. It does have a screen, a computerized screen, that shows you what your stitch length is.
I didn't get that.
Okay, I shouldn't have said that word, computer, because I've got an Alexa out here and it answers to that. So, moving on. Sorry for her rude interruption. What I was saying is about the screen. It's not very big, but it's very clear. Okay, and that's good, and it shows you what stitch number you're on, that kind of thing, and the length of your stitch and all of that, and that's good to have. The control panel you can see on here is fairly simple. You just maneuver it with up and down keys, and this increases, this decreases. It's very simple, it's very intuitive. And then you have like zigzag stitches, the buttonhole stitch, things like that when you set it up. So those are in there. And of course you have the automatic cutter as well. And you have control buttons up here. You have the, I don't know what they call that, but when you press it, it finishes off your stitch and cuts the thread. Up and down key, which is always very handy, and your scissors again, and your start and stop key as well. So it's got those basic features which basically right out of the box, if you've done any sewing on any machine before, you can get right into this without having to read your manual. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm one of those kind of people that skims the manual when I first get it. I want to play immediately, and I use the manual more or less as a reference. And speaking of manuals for the Janomes, they all come with a manual, but you can also download PDF versions of them right from the Janome site, which I do as well, because it's handy. Because, you know, sometimes you put your manual somewhere and you can't find it. You put it in that safe place, and yeah, it's so safe you can't find it. So, other features. It has a built-in one-hand needle threader right down here, and I like that because my eyesight isn't what it used to be. It does come with a hard cover and an instructional DVD. The instructional DVD is pretty much useless. it's more like an advertisement for the machine. It doesn't really help you with anything. I find that with Janome products, and it's probably the same with most brands of sewing machines. Their manuals and any videos attached to them are useless. They give you bare minimum information. They're not usually written all that well, and that's because they translate them from Japanese into English, and it doesn't always translate that well. And any videos that Janome themselves put out are just advertisements. The best way, if you want to watch somebody using the machine, is to go to videos like mine or somebody else's who's actually showing you how to do something very specific on your machine. It does have a maximum zigzag width of 7 millimeters, which is fairly standard on a lot of machines in this range of price. When you get up to the higher end Janome machines, you have 9 millimeters. And really, that has not become a problem for me on anything. Now, when you're using your decorative stitches, you might want a little wider decorative stitch, so then you might want a machine that has 9 millimeters as opposed to 7 millimeters. But for my sewing, I don't find that any great advantage or disadvantage. Drop in easy set bobbin, which a lot of the modern machines do. Instead of in the side, you drop them down from the top, which is very convenient. And press on, presser feet, things like that. Again, that's something that on most machines in this caliber is pretty much standard. And it comes with those kind of things too. So you get the basic feet that you need. In fact, in many ways, you get more than you need, I find. Now, it depends. If you're buying this machine for garment sewing, then you might want other feet that it doesn't come with. But for the most part, that's the way it is. The bobbin winder's on the top, which is nice. And it does come with this little, and it pops off, pops on, and it basically shows you all your decorative stitches right there. I don't use the decorative stitches on this machine very often because I don't use decorative stitches that often at all on any of my machines. But you know, if you want to, they're there for you. Now the little light that's coming off the side, that is not part of the machine. That's something I bought on Amazon. Because now let me talk about some of the disadvantages of this machine. One of them is its lighting system. And this can be said about most sewing machines, but there you go. It does not have a lighting system. So really, you need a lighting system. But like I said, you can get a variety of these types of lights fairly inexpensively. I think that one cost me 13 bucks or something like that. And it's magnetic. It's on the back of my machine. There's a little disc. Actually, I glued one half of the disc with E6000 on the back of the machine, and then that just fits on it. And you know, for what I paid for it, it works very well. But it would be nice if it came with its own lighting system. But then you're paying more money for it. Other things that I don't like. Well, okay, the width of the throat. I've already spoken about that, but I didn't buy it to actually quilt on a quilt. I just bought it for piecing at a class. Again, it's very light. It does come, which is nice, with, let's get it out here, the extended cable. And it does come with a little box for your accessories. I think it did. Or did I buy that separately? I may have bought that separately. Other things it does come with in the feet though. It does come with a walking foot. The only thing is, I don't like this kind of walking foot. This is one that rests on the needle and moves when the needle goes up and down, whereas on some of my higher end Janomes, it's the dual feed system, and it just clips into the back and you don't have to worry about it riding on the needle screw. The other thing too is changing out to the walking foot is very, very awkward on this machine. You have to take this shank off, and it doesn't, most of the feet on the Janome machines, you don't have to take this part, the nut right off, but when you put the walking foot on this machine, you do. And I don't know, I don't have that big of hands, but it's very awkward to get in there. I find that I have to take the whole machine, turn it around backwards to actually get at it at an angle, and I put a larger bolt or screw on this part to make that easier. that did not come with the machine. I bought that separately from my Janome dealer, just because it makes it easier for me to get a hold of it. If you have small hands, you might not have a problem. As I said, my hands are not that small, or not that big. So it comes with all the standard feet with it, and especially for quilting, it's got a 1/4 inch foot and things like that. It's got a button holder. It even came with a free motion. They call this a darting foot, but we use it for free motion quilting. It came with that, which is nice. But as I said, you'd be hard pressed to do anything bigger than a placemat under here with it. But it's nice that it did come with the extension table as well. Now, it did not come, though, with a piece that fills this in when you're not using the extension cable or table. I don't think it did. No, I'm lying. It did. I have it off. Yeah, and that has its own little place to keep your accessories in that. But the problem is, and this is a problem on all the Janomes, when you buy an extended table or with it, you have to take that piece off. I wish they would design it so you didn't have to. But if you're doing garments, you have a free arm, which is kind of nice to have that. Or even when you're doing like bags and things, it's nice to have that feature. See if I can get this back on here. I'm in a little cramped space here because I don't use this machine that often here at home. But basically, I don't know what else I can tell you about that machine. But if you're looking for a little travel machine, let me get out of the shot again. If you're looking for a little travel machine that's lightweight, that, you know, works very well, I recommend if you can get one of these. Or I'm not sure what the equivalent now is to this. As I said, this was a special edition. They probably have other ones that have replaced that by now. Price-wise, I think it lists on the Canadian site for about $1,300 some odd dollars. I didn't pay that for it. I basically paid $1,100 for it from my dealer. And the dealers usually sell them for a little less than what Janome suggests they can sell them at. And if they're not, find a different dealer, because that tells you they're gouging. Okay, so that's the M100, a nice little serviceable machine. Now, the reason I bought this beast over here, this is the Janome Skyline S7, is basically I wanted a little bit heavier duty machine, one with a bigger throat, as a substitute, sort of, for when my 15,000 is down. Again, I refer you back to some earlier videos about that, what's happening with that. I was itching to buy another machine. Why? Because I like machines. I like collecting them. So this one I looked at. Originally I wanted the S6, but then my husband pointed out to me that the S6 did not come with this kind of screen. Okay, this screen is very reminiscent of some of the higher end machines, like the 15,000, like the 9450 and the 9400, and the 6700P. Is it like that? I'm not sure if the 6700P has that. I don't think it does. Also, when I got to the store with my mind set up that I want the S6, because it was a little cheaper than this one, about $400 cheaper than this one, and I figured it would do everything I wanted it to do, the store person there pointed out to me that there's a few features on this machine the S7 or S6 does not have, but that I'll probably miss because I'm used to them on my 15,000, which is my principal machine. And she was right. I forget exactly what they were, but I think it was like the automatic foot up, foot down, needle down, that kind of thing. So I bought this one. It was $400 more. I think I paid $1,999 before tax, Canadian dollars for it, which, given that this one cost me $1,100, for less than $1,000 more, I got a superior machine. Okay, why is this superior? Well, it's got, I think, over 300 decorative stitches. Again, that wasn't a selling point for me. Sorry, 240 built-in stitches according to the spec sheet I'm looking at right now. And the throat size, I'm just looking here if they mention the throat size. they don't, but it's, you can see, bigger. And let's take out my trusty tape measure here. Where did I put the tape measure? Oh, it's right here. Very unprofessional. Okay, from the needle to the wall, it's about 7, almost 8 inches. Almost 8 inches. So we've got about 2 inches more space here. Now you're going to say 2 inches? That doesn't make a big deal. It does if you're a size queen. Away from that. This will lend itself to quilting, you know, a fairly large quilt. You can get the fabric under there. I know I did. I did a very large throw, and I had no problem quilting it under in this machine. Now, mind you, I was doing walking foot quilting with it, which is very simple, but nevertheless, I had to roll up my quilt to get it under the throat here, and I didn't have a great deal of problems with that. Let's face it, anytime you're trying to quilt on a domestic sewing machine, you are going to have, it's not going to be as easy as doing it on a long arm. But then again, a long arm is like $15,000 to $30,000. So yeah, this is the, you know, more affordable solution, I guess. So you have to put up with a little bit of stress. This one did not come with an extended table. You can get one. I looked at it, but where I have it here, I don't really have the space for that. And I don't think there's any real advantage to having the extended table for my purposes right now, although that might change depending on what happens with my 15,000. It does have a free arm, so this piece does come off. And so that's your free arm. And it does have a little holder area in here, which is two-tiered. You know, you have one here to hold your feet and your extra bobbins, and then you can put all your bric-a-brac and things down here below. And I do like that. I said this one comes with something like that too, but because I've got the table on it all the time, I really can't use that. And I assume the same thing would happen with this one if you got the extended table. Again, this is something in a Janome design, and possibly it's in the design of other brands as well, that they need to think about. I did see an extended table for one of the Janome machines, upper end machines, that does have a drawer built right into the table itself for holding things, which is a great idea. So I wish they would do that on their other one, on their other models. Oh yes, something I just didn't point out. If I want to take the needle plate off of this, I have to unscrew it. If I want to take the needle plate off on this one, all I have to do is I just slide this open, hit a button here, and it pops up. And that I like. And that was one of the features that I have on my 15,000 that I'm very used to. This is a pain in the butt, okay, to have to take the needle plate off. However, I seldom have to take the needle plate off that one. Actually, the only time I take the needle plate off that, I don't even think it came with another needle plate. I think it's just the zigzag plate. It may have come with a straight stitch one, but I think it's only the zigzag. I only have to take it off when I want to clean it. Okay, whereas this one, so much easier to take off. This one has the horizontal thread spool built into this, so it goes under the cover if you're someone who likes to keep your machine closed. I don't, mine are always open. Whereas this one, it is on the outside. Now, is that a big deal? Not really, but if you're transporting it and you like to leave your thread on the machine, this is better because it's easy to knock your spool off on this one. Little things, okay? What else about this one? The threading is very similar on both machines. It does have a threader. What's nice about this threader is that you just line up your thread over this part here, and it's all set up and away you go. That one, yeah, it's a minor thing. You don't have that, but like I said, that's not really a make or break selling point. And it's all digitalized as well. Speed control, the whole bit. And here's your screen here, and you can see it's much more elaborate. Everything is digital on here. Well, everything's digital on there too, but it's all on screen, has all your decorative stitches. If you want to see your decorative stitches, you need that little legend that's attached to it. Although this one does come with one built into the top as well for easy reference. On this one, you can see them right on the screen when you select them. I'm not going to bother right now. Again, decorative stitches are not something I use a lot of, but on this machine, you have more of them to choose from. And of course, it's got a buttonhole and lots of buttonhole specialty stitches and things like that. So it's really, this is now the machine that I'll probably be taking with me to classes. Okay, it's heavier than this machine, but it's not as heavy as a 15,000 or the 6700P, so it's very transportable. Both of them do have a built-in carry handle on them, so that's a nice thing too. This one came with a vinyl cover, not a hard cover. Really, that's not a biggie either, because I have a travel case that I put them in when I go to classes. So for me, that's not a big problem. Of course, it's got a foot pedal. Now the foot pedal is much bigger for this machine, which I don't know if that's an advantage. The other one is only about this big. This one's about this big. I don't know. Is there an advantage? Maybe if your aim's not very good, I suppose the bigger foot pedal's good, but again, this is not something that would make or break as far as a selling point is concerned. Just a little heavier duty machine overall. I love them both. I've used that one extensively. I've said I've only had this one for a couple of weeks, but I've been using it and I do like it. It also has good lighting, as you can see under here, LEDs, which that one doesn't. So you don't really need to purchase an additional light, unless of course you want to. What else can I say about this machine? Yeah, that's about it. Price wise, as I said, this one was I paid about $1,100 for this one before tax. This one I paid before tax $1,999. So you're basically talking $900, $1,000 difference in price. So that's sort of my review of these two machines and why I bought them, why I have them. And I don't think I'll use this one now that I have this one as much, but it's a backup to a backup, basically. Can you have too many machines? I think not. It's like fabric. You collect them. So anyways, I like them both. They're both great machines. So if you're looking for a new machine, or you're looking for something that you want to take with you to classes and things like that, then either one of these two machines would fit the bill. If you want to have a good selection of decorative stitches, well, 100 will do you, really. But sometimes people like more, so this one's got more. So basically, yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with either machine. I guess what it comes down to is really how much do you want to spend and what are you buying it for. One thing, if it's your first machine, okay, and you want to do quilting or garment making, then I would recommend this machine for the price. Okay, if you're going to seriously get into quilt making or garment making, well, not garment making so much, but quilt making, then I would spend the extra money and buy a 6700P, or you can go, if depending on your budget, the 9450. Yeah, or they've just come out with the Continental M7. I've used it. I've looked at 9450s and both the M7 and the M7. I'm not really sold on the M7, but it does have a really large throat. So if you intend to do a lot of free motion quilting, you might want to invest in a machine like that. But we're talking, I think we're talking manufactured suggested price around $7,000 for it. So yeah, you're getting up there. So anyways, I hope you found this useful, and stay tuned for more Idiot Quilter whatevers. Bye bye for now.